Little black boy ran toward the bikers, shouting, "Stop! Please, somebody help me!" The desperate voice of a little boy sliced through the quiet stretch of highway. A 7-year-old black child, barefoot and terrified, sprinted toward a row of roaring motorcycles. His small arms waved in panic, tears streaking the dust on his cheeks. The bikers, a pack of leather-clad men known for noise and chaos, were thundering out of town. They weren't the kind anyone begged for help until that moment. The leader, a tall man with rough hands and a scar down his cheek, yanked the brakes. His tires screeched. The others followed, engines rumbling low like thunder trapped in steel. The boy stumbled to a stop, chest heaving. "They took my mom," he shouted. "Please, those men, they put her in a gray van." "They're gonna hurt her." For a second, no one spoke. Dust swirled between them. The leader removed his helmet. His name was Ryder, a man whose stare could silence grown men. But right now it softened. "What's your name, kid?" he asked. "Micah," the boy gasped. Ryder's eyes narrowed. "Tell me what happened." "She works at the diner," Micah stammered. "2 men came," said the boss wanted her. She got scared. "They grabbed her and drove off." One of the bikers muttered, "We ain't cops, Ryder. This ain't our problem." Ryder's jaw flexed. He looked down the road where the boy pointed, then back at the trembling child. "It's our problem now." He crouched, leveled his gaze with Micah's. "Can you ride, kid?" Micah hesitated, then nodded. Ryder lifted him onto the bike, settled his tiny hands around his waist. "Hold on tight." Engines roared back to life. The gang of 7 shot forward in formation, black steel bullets against the horizon. The wind whipped through Micah's hair as the bikes tore down the empty road. Ryder shouted over the engine noise. "What kind of men were they?" "Big!" Micah cried, wearing black coats. One had a tattoo of a snake on his neck. Ryder's expression darkened. He knew that mark. Snake crew, smugglers, human cargo traffickers. The kind of scum who took people and sold them like things. He opened the throttle. The rest of the bikers exchanged looks. Grim, knowing. They had been outlaws once too, but not like that. Not anymore. 10 miles later, they saw it, a gray van, speeding past the tree line. "There!" Micah yelled, pointing. Ryder revved hard, closing the gap. "Hang on, kid." The gang fanned out. One biker pulled ahead, another boxed the van from the left. The driver inside looked up, startled. "Is that Ryder's crew?" The passenger shouted. "Good," Ryder muttered. "They remember me." The van swerved, clipping one biker. Tires screamed. Metal scraped. Tank, a huge man with arms like steel pipes, roared in fury and rammed his bike into the side of the van, sending it fishtailing. "Push him off the road," Ryder ordered. The van shot into a side path leading into the woods. Dust and leaves exploded behind it. The bikers followed close, headlights cutting through the forest shadows. "Micah!" Ryder shouted. "Can you see your mom?" Through the small rear window, the boy saw a flash of her face, bound, terrified, pounding on the glass. "She's in there!" he cried. Ryder's rage turned cold. "Then we end this." The dirt road curved sharply. The van tried to drift, lost traction, and slammed into a tree with a crunch of steel. The bikers braked in unison, surrounding it like predators circling prey. Ryder dismounted first, yanking open the back door. Inside, Micah's mother lay tied and bruised, eyes wide with shock. "Mom!" Micah screamed, running to her. Her voice shook. "Micah! Oh, baby, are you okay?" He nodded through tears. "These men helped me." Ryder cut through the tape with his knife. "You're safe now, ma'am." But before she could answer, a deep rumble echoed in the distance. Ryder looked up. His eyes narrowed. Headlights, more of them, were coming down the hill. "Trouble," he said. A convoy of black SUVs rolled into view, tires grinding against the gravel. Men in suits stepped out, armed, efficient, silent. Ryder's men instinctively reached for their weapons. The woman gasped. "They're the ones who took me." Ryder's voice was calm but sharp. "Then we hold the line." The lead SUV door opened. A tall man stepped out, bald, wearing sunglasses, though the sun was dying behind the trees. His presence made the air heavier. "Well, well," he said, smiling coldly. "If it isn't Ryder King, still pretending to play hero?" Ryder's jaw locked. "Didn't think scum like you would crawl out this far, Vance." Vance laughed softly. "You've got my cargo. And that woman is worth more than you'll ever make in a lifetime." Micah's mother flinched. "Cargo?" Vance smirked. Oh, you didn't tell her? This woman knows too much. She was supposed to disappear quietly. Ryder stepped forward. You'll have to go through me. Vance raised a brow. I was hoping you'd say that. He snapped his fingers. Gun barrels lifted in unison. Micah clutched his mother. Ryder, he whispered. The bikers spread out, engines idling, ready to spring. The forest filled with tension so thick it could break under a breath. Tank whispered, We're outnumbered, boss. Ryder didn't blink. Maybe, but not out of fight, Vance chuckled. Always the martyr. You think this little gang of misfits can stand against us? Ryder's stare was ice. You took a mother from her child. You made it my fight the second he ran into my road. For a heartbeat. No one moved. Then a single sound split the stillness. Click. One of the bikers cocked his shotgun. The forest erupted. Gunfire thundered. Birds scattered from the trees. Dirt exploded where bullets hit. The bikers ducked behind their bikes, returning fire. The roar of engines mixed with screams and shouts. Ryder pulled Micah and his mother behind the van. Stay down! Vance's men advanced, tactical and precise. One tossed a flash grenade. White light blinded the clearing. Go! Move! Ryder barked. Tank and two others covered them, firing into the smoke. Ryder kicked his bike upright. Get her on! Micah's mother hesitated. What about you? I'll be right behind, he said, eyes hard. Go! Tank gunned his engine, creating a wall of smoke as they fled. Ryder turned back, firing one last shot before diving into the forest. Silence returned slowly. Broken branches, fading engines, and the echo of gunfire. When the dust cleared, Vance stepped forward, wiping blood from his lip. His smile remained. Run, Ryder, run as far as you can. You can't protect them forever. His men regrouped, and the SUVs rolled out, engines humming like dark promises. Down the road, miles away, Ryder's gang regrouped at an abandoned gas station. Micah's mother sat on the curb, trembling, clutching her son. She looked up at Ryder. Why did you help us? Ryder leaned against his bike, eyes distant. Because once, someone took my family too, and nobody helped me. Micah stared at him, eyes wide. What happened to them? Ryder didn't answer. He simply looked down the empty road where the last streaks of sunset faded into night. Somewhere out there, Vance was still hunting, and Ryder knew. This wasn't the end. It was only the beginning. The night swallowed the road. Rain began to fall, slow and heavy, drumming on the metal roof of the abandoned gas station where Ryder's gang had taken shelter. Inside, dim fluorescent lights flickered, barely alive. Micah sat close to his mother, wrapped in an old biker jacket, his tiny hands clutching hers as if afraid she might disappear again. Ryder stood near the window, watching the empty road outside. His scarred face was half-lit by the red glow of his cigarette. His men were silent, their exhaustion hidden behind rough exteriors. Tank broke the silence. They'll come, boss. You know they will. Ryder nodded slowly. Yeah. And when they do, we'll be ready. Micah's mother, Naomi, looked up at him. Her voice trembled. Who are they? What do they want with me? Ryder turned from the window, his tone low and steady. The man who took you, Vance, runs something called the Syndicate. They don't just move guns or money. They move people. Anyone who gets in their way disappears. Naomi's eyes widened. I didn't do anything. I just overheard something at the diner. They were talking about shipments, codes, people hidden in containers. Tank frowned. She heard their operation. That's why they grabbed her, Micah whispered. They wanted to hurt her because she tried to help someone. Ryder's jaw tightened. He saw something in that little boy's eyes. The same fire he'd once had before the world took everything from him. He put out his cigarette. We're not running anymore. Hours later, the gang's old garage came alive with noise and purpose. Chains rattled, engines growled. They were outlaws once more, but this time with a mission that mattered. Ryder's second-in-command, a lean biker named Ghost, rolled a map across a dusty table. Got a hit on one of Vance's warehouses, old steel mill by the river. Heavy guard, Ryder nodded. Then that's where we start. Naomi stepped forward. You can't go there. They'll kill you. Ryder's eyes met hers, steady, unflinching. They already tried. She swallowed hard. Why are you doing this? You don't even know us." He hesitated for a moment. "Because no one helped me when they took my family. And I swore, if I ever had the chance, I'd stop someone else from feeling that." Micah's lip trembled. "Did they take your wife?" Ryder didn't answer. He only looked away. By dawn, the plan was in motion. The gang rolled out in silence, the rumble of engines echoing against the cold morning mist. Micah and Naomi stayed behind with Ghost, hidden in a safe cabin deep in the woods. Ryder led the rest toward the steel mill. As they neared the river, the decaying structure appeared, an enormous skeleton of rusted metal, guarded by black SUVs and armed men. Tank grinned darkly. "Looks like a nest. Then let's smoke them out," Ryder said. They killed the engines and moved in on foot. Rain dripped through the shattered roof, tapping on the steel floor. Inside, voices echoed, men checking cargo, radios buzzing. Ryder motioned silently. His men spread out, flanking the shadows. Then, crack! A footstep betrayed them. "Who's there?" one guard shouted, raising his gun. Ryder reacted first. One swift strike, metal pipe to the head, and the guard dropped. Another turned, firing wildly. Bullets sparked against metal beams. "Go loud!" Ryder barked. Engines roared to life again. The bikers stormed the warehouse, weapons flashing. Chaos erupted. Gunfire, shouts, the smell of oil and smoke. Tank tore through a line of crates with his bare hands, dragging a man out from hiding. "Where's Vance?" The man coughed blood, sneering. "You're too late. The shipment's already gone." Ryder grabbed him by the collar. "Shipment of what?" The man smirked. "People," Ryder froze. "What?" He pointed toward a corner of the warehouse where a massive container sat, chained shut. Ryder ran to it, kicked the lock open, and what he saw made his blood run cold. Inside were people, women, children, terrified, cramped, bound. He turned to his crew. "Call Ghost. Tell him Vance is moving others. Now!" But before Tank could reach his radio, a familiar voice echoed from above. "Well done, Ryder. Always the bleeding heart." Ryder looked up. Vance stood on the catwalk, surrounded by guards, his suit spotless amid the chaos. "You just can't help saving strays, can you?" Vance sneered. "It's why your own family paid the price." Ryder's breath caught. "Don't you dare!" "Oh, I dare," Vance said. "Your wife screamed your name right before she disappeared. You still blame me for that?" Ryder's eyes burned. "You killed her," Vance smirked. "Not killed, sold. You should know better than anyone. Everything has a price." Rage exploded inside Ryder. "You're done." He fired. Bullets tore through the catwalk. Vance's men scattered. The platform collapsed, sending sparks and metal raining down. Vance vanished into the smoke. Hours later, the warehouse burned behind them. The bikers freed the captives and disappeared before the authorities arrived. At the cabin, Naomi paced nervously as headlights approached. Micah ran to the door. "Mom, it's them!" Ryder stepped inside, covered in soot and rain. His eyes were hollow but alive. "Is it over?" Naomi asked. He shook his head. "Not yet. Vance escaped, and he's coming for us." Ghost handed him a file. "We found this in the warehouse office. Shipping records, coded names, offshore accounts. He's moving people across borders. If we crack this, we can end it." Ryder glanced at the papers, then at Naomi. "You're good with details." "Can you read any of this?" Naomi frowned. "It's not English. Looks like a mix of symbols and numbers." Micah leaned in. "Mom, that's the same writing you showed me once, remember?" "From the old book Grandpa gave you?" Ryder raised an eyebrow. "You can read it?" Micah hesitated. "Some of it," Ghost snorted. "The kid's a codebreaker now?" But as Micah began tracing the marks with his finger, his quiet voice translated the impossible. Coordinates, names, dates. Naomi's eyes widened. "He's right, Micah. How did you—" He shrugged shyly. "It's like puzzles, Mom. They just make sense." Ryder stared at the boy, realizing something powerful. Vance doesn't know the file's been decoded. That makes Micah the key. Naomi's fear deepened. Then he'll come for him next. Ryder nodded grimly. "Which means we have to move before he does." Outside, thunder rolled across the mountains. Somewhere in the darkness, Vance's convoy was already closing in. As night fell, the cabin filled with tension. Ghost kept watch near the door. Tank reloaded his shotgun. Naomi sat beside Micah, trying to stay calm. Ryder checked his weapon, staring into the firelight. "We end this tomorrow," Naomi looked up. "How?" "By making Vance come to us," Ryder said. "He wants the file? We'll give him something to chase." Ghost frowned. "You're setting a trap," Ryder nodded. "And I'm the bait," Naomi's eyes filled with fear. "He'll kill you," Ryder's gaze softened. "Maybe. But if it keeps you and Micah alive, it's worth it." She hesitated, then whispered, "You remind me of my late husband." Ryder looked at her quietly. "Then I'll take that as an honor." Micah tugged at Ryder's sleeve. "Promise you'll come back?" Ryder knelt down, placing a hand on his shoulder. "I've broken a lot of promises in my life, kid. I won't break this one." But far from the cabin, deep in the forest road, black SUVs stopped under the rain. Vance stepped out, soaked but smiling. "Found them?" His man nodded. "Yes, sir. They're holed up near the North Ridge. Satellite heat signatures confirm movement." Vance smiled coldly. "Then let's make Ryder watch his new family disappear too." Back in the cabin, the sound of distant thunder grew louder, too steady, too rhythmic. Tank looked up. "That ain't thunder." Ryder's eyes sharpened. "Engines." Outside, headlights cut through the rain. "They're here." The rumble of engines grew louder, swallowing the forest's silence. Rain poured harder now, slashing through the dark like silver knives. The small cabin trembled as Ryder and his crew took positions. Ghost checked the windows. Tank crouched near the back door, shotgun ready. Ryder's eyes were locked on the tree line. "Hold your fire until I say." Naomi clutched Micah close. The boy's heart pounded in sync with the thunder. "Mom," he whispered. "They're coming, aren't they?" She nodded slowly, trying to steady her voice. "Stay quiet. Do what Mr. Ryder says." Ryder knelt beside them, his voice low but calm. "You two stay in the basement. Don't come out unless you hear my voice. Understand?" Naomi's lips trembled. "What if—" He cut her off gently. "No what-ifs." For a moment their eyes met, his filled with battle scars, hers with gratitude and fear. Then he turned and was gone. Outside, headlights pierced through the trees. A convoy of black SUVs crawled up the muddy road, tires grinding against gravel. Vance stepped out first, umbrella in hand, his suit immaculate even in the storm. "Ryder!" he called out, voice echoing through the rain. "You've been a thorn for far too long." Ryder's voice came from the shadows. "You talk too much, Vance," Vance chuckled. "And you still play the hero? Tell me, how many of your men died trying to protect people who never cared about them?" Ryder stepped into the light, his leather jacket soaked, gun steady in his hand. "Doesn't matter. You're not leaving this forest alive," Vance smirked. "Oh, I intend to. And I'll be taking that woman and her boy with me." Ryder's grip tightened. "Not tonight." Then came the explosion. A deafening boom ripped through the forest as one of Vance's vehicles burst into flames. Tank's trap. Metal shrapnel flew everywhere, guards screaming as fire consumed the road. "Go!" Ryder shouted. Gunfire erupted. The night lit up with muzzle flashes. Ghost moved like a shadow, picking off men one by one. Tank roared, charging forward like a storm, his shotgun blasting through the chaos. Ryder advanced toward Vance, ducking behind trees, returning fire. Vance's men surrounded him, but he was relentless, each shot precise, each move fueled by vengeance and something deeper, redemption. Inside the cabin, Micah and Naomi could hear everything, the echoes of war shaking the floorboards. Micah grabbed his mother's hand. "Mom, I have to help." "Micah, no." "I can end this," he insisted, eyes fierce. "I cracked the code, remember? I know what Vance wants." Naomi hesitated, fear and pride clashing in her chest. "Please, Mom," he said softly. "If we don't stop him now, he'll never stop." She finally nodded, tears streaming down. "Be careful." Micah climbed the wooden steps and emerged into chaos. Rain soaked his hair. The cabin door hung open, bullets ripping through the air. He saw Ryder pinned behind a fallen tree, returning fire toward the SUVs. "Ryder!" Micah shouted. Ryder turned, shocked. "Kid, what are you doing up here?" "I know where Vance is going next." Micah yelled, clutching the paper file. The code. It's not just names. It's locations. He's using an old airstrip to move people tonight. Ryder's eyes widened. You sure? Yes. Before Ryder could respond, a gunshot whizzed past, missing Micah by inches. Ryder dove forward, tackling him to the ground. Stay down! Vance emerged from the smoke, holding a pistol. His umbrella was gone, his perfect hair now plastered to his forehead. Touching. You really think you can stop me, Ryder? The boy's clever, I'll admit, but he belongs to me now. Ryder rose slowly, gun aimed. You'll never touch him, Vance sneered. You couldn't even protect your own wife. What makes you think you can protect someone else's? Ryder's jaw clenched. You're right. I failed her, but not again. Lightning flashed, and both men fired. The shots echoed across the forest. Vance stumbled back, clutching his shoulder. He dropped his gun, fury twisting his face. You think this ends with me? He screamed. You've just started a war. Ryder advanced, pressing the gun against Vance's chest. Then I'll finish it. But before he could pull the trigger, Micah's voice cut through the chaos. Ryder, don't! Ryder froze, breathing hard. Micah's eyes were wide. If you kill him, you become just like him. For a moment, the forest was silent except for the rain. Ryder slowly lowered his gun. You're right, kid. He turned to Vance. You're going to live, and you're going to face everything you've done. Then Ghost appeared, dragging 2 captured guards. Boss, cops are on their way. Signal got out before we jammed it. Vance smirked, even in defeat. You'll be back in a cell before dawn, Ryder. Ryder stepped close. Not before they see who you really are. He pulled a small flash drive from his pocket. Your file. Every transaction, every name, every shipment. Sent it to every news station in the state. Vance's smile vanished. You didn't. I did. Hours later, blue and red lights filled the forest. Agents swarmed the burning SUVs, arresting the remaining men. Vance was dragged into custody, shouting threats that vanished into the storm. Ryder watched silently, the rain washing blood from his knuckles. Naomi and Micah ran toward him. Naomi threw her arms around Ryder. It's over, he nodded slowly. For now. Micah looked up at him, voice trembling. You kept your promise. Ryder smiled faintly. Guess I did. Ghost approached, lighting a cigarette. So what now, boss? Back to the road? Ryder glanced at Naomi and Micah, then at the horizon. The first light of dawn broke through the clouds. No, he said quietly. We've got people to take home. Tank grinned. And after that? Ryder smiled, a rare, tired smile. After that? Maybe a new beginning. Weeks later, a quiet diner by the highway. Naomi worked behind the counter again, her laughter light and unburdened. Micah sat at a corner booth drawing motorcycles on napkins. The doorbell chimed. Ryder walked in, jacket slung over his shoulder. Naomi's eyes lit up. You came, he nodded, sitting across from her. Couldn't stay away from your coffee, Micah grinned. You mean Mom's pancakes, Ryder chuckled. That too. For a moment, everything felt still. Safe. Then Ghost's voice crackled through Ryder's earpiece. Boss, you might want to see this. Ryder frowned, stepping outside. Ghost's voice was serious. Someone's been moving again. Same routes, same codes. Vance's network wasn't the only one. Ryder's expression darkened. He looked back at the diner window, at Naomi and Micah smiling inside. Then we keep riding, he said quietly, until every last one of them is gone. He slipped on his gloves, the sound of his motorcycle roaring back to life. As he sped down the highway, the rising sun caught his reflection in the mirror, scarred, silent, but no longer lost. Because for the first time in years, Ryder wasn't running from something. He was riding toward something worth protecting.